Hey, what's guys, welcome back to the channel. In this episode, we're going to talk about DeWALT Tough durability, especially in particular to this. Obviously, this is an edger attachment, and this thing is DeWALT Tough. Obviously, we're just joking around. So anyways, do I think you should buy this tool? That's exactly what we're going to find out. So if you want to know more about that, stick with us. This right here is a DeWALT edger attachment, and it's an edger attachment you could use on the powerhead system. And we've been using on the FlexVolt system. I don't even know if to make a 20 volt one, but we've been using the FlexVolt one. The model number on this one is DWOAS4ED. So it's an edger attachment that is, obviously just an attachment that you can use. And the biggest problem we have with this is that this piece of plastic, or this guard for this edger attachment, is almost entirely plastic. Well, at least the shield is entirely plastic. The part where the wheel attaches and stuff like that has a little bit of metal. And but the biggest problem is that this part is reinforced so that it has that vertical stability and maybe a little bit of lateral stability with the ridges, but the attachment point is completely plastic. And that's a huge problem, mainly because the business end of the tool, which is right here, takes a lot of abuse, especially if you use it multiple times a week. And in the summer, we use this thing 2 times a week for all the edging. And then even though we don't use it for commercial use, just residential use, it barely held up and it broke off right here. What we noticed over the last few months is that some of the edges already broke off, so we've been trying to use a little bit more carefully. But the problem is that it's just all plastic. If they wanted to continue to use all plastic, what they could do is, reinforce this area, just this area, with the metal, or at least continue to have one solid piece of metal that goes all the way down and reinforces this, such that the attachment of this shield or guard is on here with metal. So there's always going to be some jokes here, but is this thing DeWALT Tough? Probably not, obviously, because unless DeWALT Tough stands for piece of plastic, that's going to be a no. So that's the biggest problem I have with that, especially, like I said, you're kicking up rocks, gravel, debris, sometimes clay and other stuff. It's just going to take a lot of abuse. That's one big problem I have with that. The other major problem is that this thing is very wobbly. Even though it's brand new and it's on here and you're using it, anybody who uses an edger enough knows that it needs to be pretty stable so you can get a really good cut line. This thing, if you roll on here, not everybody does, it just becomes really wobbly. Okay, that's a huge problem. This thing, I do appreciate they have this little edge right here that helps keep the, across that, what do you call it, that ledge, so you can ride it real easy. This thing, I think, needs a little bit of redesign. But anyways, the point is, the biggest problem is that it's entirely plastic, okay? The second biggest problem I have with this is that, one, it's too short. Okay, I'm only 5'10" or 5'10"-ish, and then even I have to bend over and then walk it and use the tool. It needs to be a minimum of like 2, 3, 4, 5 inches taller. Minimum. I would say minimum of like 3. That will definitely help people out, especially ergonomics. Okay, that's the second thing. The third thing I have with this is that for some reason, when they put this thing on here, the angle of it is just terrible. And I don't know if that's just me, or maybe because I'm not the target audience or target user of this thing, or maybe they expect people to be shorter or something. I'm not sure what the deal is, but the angle of it just makes it such that it comes up like this, and it needs to be closer to like this. And then the problem with that is, if you look on the bottom side here, is that you actually start wearing away at some of the plastic that's here, and then you start wearing into the metal that's here. So obviously this part right here, the actual gear head part of it, is metal, and you can tell that the plastic has been worn through, and then now you got this metal. So eventually, sure, this metal is going to hold up a lot better than this plastic, but eventually, if you keep using it this way, the metal housing part's going to wear out, and you can just have to buy a new one completely. So we use this tool a lot. We use it whenever the grass is growing, and we're talking about Bermuda grass, we use it at least once that week. In the summers, there's oftentimes we use it 2 times a week, and our yard is not entirely that huge, and we're not using it for commercial purposes. So would we go and recommend this for commercial use? The answer is obviously no, because it won't even hold up for residential use. But the problem is mostly the issue with the plastic. The length of, if you're doing it for commercial use and you're using it all day, obviously you probably need it to be longer, I would imagine. But you know, those are the 2, if not 3 biggest issues I have with this. So I would not recommend using this, although I do appreciate using this more than I like using the Ego one. So let's talk about that one for a little bit. So here, this one right here is the Ego Power Plus head, okay, or attachment head. And as you can see, Ego Power Plus, this is the one that we used to use. But do you notice anything different between that and this? This thing, the DeWALT Tough, heavy commercial, whatever they market this for, DeWALT Tough, is all plastic. This Ego Power Plus system is almost entirely all aluminum, except for maybe a piece of like metal down here for like almost like the riding knife or the riding shield or whatever you want to call it. But this thing is actually built to last, and this thing seems to work. The one issue, or the one thing I don't like about the Ego one, is that it doesn't kick out the debris far enough, and that may be because it has this shield here that kind of keeps it there. I'll see if I can find a clip. When we reviewed the DeWALT one, it just left a cleaner line and less stuff to come back and pick up or clean out the edges. So I think the DeWALT one definitely does a better job in cutting, clearing the edge, and this one will work fine. You have to do a little bit more work with it, but this is definitely built way more better, that even makes sense, than the DeWALT one. So would I go ahead and recommend using this or this? Either one works. I think for some reason the Ego one seems to be a little bit more ergonomic, at least in terms of for somebody closer to my height or something like that. But the DeWALT one, like I said, seems to work better. So the answer to the question, would we go out and buy this again if we haven't answered it already? The answer is probably not. It's just not made to hold up. It's not, you know, ergonomic to use. And if it's something just designed to be, you know, replaced over and over again, like this, the knife or the blade is actually consumable. That's designed to be placed over and over again. But this thing obviously is not, although you could technically just buy this thing again and put it on there, which I'm going to see if I can do that. It just seems to be a small plastic piece, so we'll see if we can try that again. But the question is, would we go out and recommend you buying this tool? Most likely not. Would I go out and buy this tool again? Probably not. It really depends. So this thing right now, last time I checked on, you know, the major retailer site, depending on where you get it from, is anywhere between 99 to 150 bucks. So if it was maybe like 50 bucks and you wouldn't mind replacing it like every year or 2 years or whatever, then maybe you would definitely keep buying it, because I do like using it more than we do like using the Ego one. So there's some trade-offs. The Ego one, I think just by itself is just about 150 bucks if I remember correctly, depending on what sales and stuff you can get it from. But I really wish they would put that build on here, then things would be better. So hopefully this video helped you guys out. If you have any questions, let us know. If you have any feedback or hacks to make this thing last longer, let us know. Otherwise, have a great day, get back to work, and we'll see you guys next time.